Hi YouTube, this is Collin Reyes from Divisionary Media Group explaining the behind the scenes of my debut record as Collin Reyes, The Last Love Song. I kind of wanted to make a video just because I know some people that I know and some people that listen to my music like kind of knowing the backstory of these things. So when I had the idea of creating the Last Love Song, I had actually been in the works of creating a sort of debut record for a while now because I essentially I still work with samples, but basically my project as Cheap Polaroid I kind of felt wasn't necessarily coming to an end per se, but it was definitely time for me to shift gears and kind of get into a new headspace because I had had so many blocks when it came to thinking, okay, what's next for Cheap Polaroid? And the answer is I knew it was going to be something that I didn't necessarily want to pursue at the moment, and that I really needed to come back when I felt like the pressure was too immense. And really, in a way, this record can kind of be seen as a transition between Cheap Polaroid and Collin Reyes. This is still very much a Collin Reyes record, don't get that wrong, but it's also there's, if you listen to the Cheap Polaroid albums and then you listen to this album, it's gonna feel kind of more advanced techniques, but not entirely oh, this is 100% a Cheap Polaroid album, if that makes sense. So little backstory, and this embarrasses me now, but basically back in December of 2024, I'd been really out of it, and I was telling everyone, I was like, fuck this, I'm quitting music, fuck all of you, bye. And then I was in January of 2025, I was like, oh wait, I'm being really dramatic. So I think I made a post that was all of my new music's gonna be under Collin Reyes from now on. And the thing is pretty much all of 2025 I'd been working on music quite literally from March 2025. I had been working on music all the fucking time. And the problem is this music I was working on, it wasn't that it was bad or anything. It was just that there'd only be one or two songs that I was really crazy over, and then the rest it was just kind of take it or leave it. So yeah, and then life got busy, and then as you now know, I also was producing a lot of Julie Ragbeer's stuff. So quite honestly, most of my 2025 had just been preoccupied with working on Julie stuff, especially towards the later half of the year, because I basically ever since July, August, I had been working constantly on Julie stuff, and I hadn't even touched my own stuff. And then it was I want to say November or December of 2025. And then I had, so what had happened is I just lost my job because I'd quit my first job, got a new one, got axed from that job because they had to reduce because of staff layoffs. And then I was like, well, I don't have anything to do, so I was working on music again. And then my friend Olivia, she contacts me and she's like, hey, our mutual friend Gabo wants you to do music for his short film. And so I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. So I do, the soundtrack, whatever. And originally I was going to release, the bit in soundtrack. And the music I did for that, don't get me wrong, it's good. I definitely revise it if I had the chance, but it was I only had 5 days, and I was scrambling. I was because I had one idea that wasn't even fully finished that would later become Don't Wait Up Late, and that I kind of incorporated that into it. And then I'd also been working on a song, well no, the main song of the film that I'd worked on was called Valley of the Shadows. And the if the film ever makes it to daylight on YouTube or whatever, there's gonna be a drastic difference between the rework on the album. But I kind of made that the shining jewel because I was okay, this sounds the most ready, I could present that. And originally I'd kind of been almost not wanted to give up, but had just wanted to be oh, I'm so tired, let me just release something so then I can focus on other shit, so I don't have to constantly think about this. But here's my thing. Back like when I was first making music, I would literally just make anything and release it because there was no stakes back then. And I'm not saying there are stakes now. I'm just saying there, to me it's like there's more to me writing on me at least somewhat pursuing my dream of being a musician to just overall my life and my happiness than there was in the past. It was like back in like sophomore year of high school, like don't get me wrong, yes, I loved making music, but also it was like not the most important thing in my life. Well, no, actually it was. But the thing is though, it's like my thing is I like outside of what I do for a day job, everything I do is music. Everything I do. Like, yes, I don't maybe I don't work as much on music as I should. That's because I'm lazy. But also it's literally like ask anyone you know. I'm always working on music. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to dive straight into this. So even though like Valley of the Shadows is technically the first song I worked on, Don't Wait Up Late was kind of like the one where I started going like, wait a second. So how it started out was when I first started using Splice, I had like one of the first packs besides the Giant Claw pack that I looked at was Thayer Period, because Thayer Period's a producer who I follow. I subscribe to her Patreon and everything. Love her. She's amazing. She just released a new song with Aisha Erotica as of February 18th and 19th, whenever this video releases. Basically, so I had been using a lot of her loops and stuff in the songs I was making, but there was this one, and I'm trying to remember which one it was. I want to say it's like New World Order. I think that's the one. And I listened to it, and it's like, let me try to imitate it. It's like, oh my god, that's so bad. Oh my god, ignore that. But it's like, like this really sprawling synth pad thing, and I'd been like, yes, like I need to incorporate that. So I remember I opened up a new project file, and I had been like, I laid down some R&B drum loops, and I was like, these really soft drums that were going just really softly in the background. And I remember, I don't even know how I kind of got here, but I'd been listening to this Ethel Cain demo called Concrete. Well, technically the title's a bunch of X's, but everyone calls it Concrete. And so I'd been listening to that, and then, God, what other song did I sample? Was it, oh my God, what was it? I think, no, oh my God. There was a Tinashe, like, unreleased song that I don't even remember how I got my hands on it, but it's called Denial. And I laid that down, and it has these chords that go, and it's really moody and mysterious, and you have little synths that go, that was so out of tune, like, do-do-do-do-do. I can't off the cuff just do, like, like, I can't. I have to stay low register. So this is all unscripted, and I don't plan on editing this because I'm lazy and I hate video editing. I hate video editing software with a passion. So you're gonna see me go on tangents. I'm so sorry. Anyway. So basically, I don't know how I got the idea, but I was like, I think the guitars would sound really good laid over this. And the thing is, I don't know why, but I magically just have an ear for, like, whenever I'm doing samples, if I have a song in one key, I'm like, can immediately find another sample in, like, the same key. So Tinashe's sample I'd put in the key of B because I love the key of B. You're gonna see that throughout this entire album. And then Ethel Cain's Concrete was in the key of B, and that sample is Sprawl by Bedlocked. So I just took her vocals, Sprawl by Bedlocked, took, like, the guitar part, the chorus part where it's go because I love it. And so you have this, like, whole interlocking, connecting thing in, and I would just constantly listen to it and be mind blown. I was like, oh my God. And then I also had, like, the Tinashe, like, cut up vocals, and I was like, yes. And I literally sent it to every one of my friends, and they were like, dude. And I was like, dude, I'll bleach it. Don't bleach. So, okay, let me get back on track. So I like the first mix of the vocals that I sent off to streaming was literally just because I was so fed up and I was like, I need to release something before the year ends. And so I did that because I was trying to work on a tighter deadline. Obviously, I'm going to revise the mix. Like, I already kind of have, but I revised the mix for the vocals because I wasn't like entirely satisfied with them. And now that I'm thinking about it, I might go back as we're speaking and redo some of the lyrics because like originally like the concept of this album was going to be like I was going to take the theme of the film, which is like this zombie apocalypse movie, and in the like 5 minutes we see, we see like one of the main characters dying of being like, getting bit by a zombie, and he's thinking of his girlfriend, and then the Notebook, it's like, why did I leave? And so I wanted to write a song from her perspective, and that's what Don't Wait Up Late is about. It's like, I know that you left me, you abandoned me, and like, I guess I can't be mad at you for that, but don't wait for me, don't worry for me, because I have to move on. And so I really wanted it to be this bittersweet thing, but also I wanted that like kind of like tension in there, like your body, my, like, that like sort of sexual romantic tension that I guess like people like feel when they're yearning. I don't know why I'm saying that, like I've never experienced that, because obviously I have, but I just like, because like the big blockbusters where it's like everyone's sexy and everyone's hot and God, I miss her, and my wife, my dead beautiful sexy wife. Oh. Oh my God, I'm sorry, y'all. I went to Great Clips, and can you all tell me in the comments if they fucked my shit up? You can be honest with me. You can be as honest with me as you want to. I know I need to shave this. I'm just lazy, but take a shot every time I've said lazy in this video. But anyway, so back to the thing. So then I like the way I wrote the lyrics, like I kind of like the chorus, but also I don't like the because I was trying to go, oh God, how does the chorus even go? It's like I said goodbye in the morning. Wait, hold on. You gotta give me a second. I said goodbye in the morning. And okay, this is a note to myself, but I have to like figure out how to melodyne the shit out of my vocals, but also make it sound like not like it's melodyne the shit out of my vocal. You know what I mean? Like, work with me here. And instead it comes like, I like, what am I doing? Fucking shaking the mic? Jesus Christ, Like, sorry, it's Ash Wednesday. Probably shouldn't take the Lord's name in vain. I'm not even Catholic. I'm so sad I missed out on Ash Wednesday, but like, it's just, anyways, moving forward. So that's that. Made the cover art, and I like originally had just been going for like a apocalyptic vibe, and for whatever reason I have a tendency to go to glitch art for literally every single project. I don't know why. That's been literally every single cover art I've made. Shoot me now, sniper right here, anyway. So then this video, I'm going to talk about the next single that's coming out pretty soon, called Death Drive. And as we're speaking, I'm like literally in the final passes for vocals and whatnot. So Death Drive, I'd been like, this was a song that was like early on in my head. So right after I made like Don't Wait Up Late, like basically after I finished it, I made this project file called Mexican Summer, also Blood Orange Summer. Like I had alternate titles in the captions, whatever. And I had been like, it was like this sort of like, God, hold on, I'm trying to like like a rhythm here, like, but not exactly like that, but like where it's like kind of like perio. I'm pronouncing this wrong. I'm so sorry. Like, I'm literally Latino and I don't fucking know how to pronounce this shit. God. Like perio, like reggaeton. You know what I'm saying? Guacamole, avocado. Can I get a guacamole? Oh my God. I promise I'm Mexican. I promise. I wear black Air Force Ones. Please. Okay, let me walk in. So, what was I saying? Oh, right. So, Death Drive. I had been like, for the longest time, I'd only had like a slight intro and then like what the chorus was. And originally I was just going like, brown, narrow, narrow. And then the guy going, yeah, yeah, like, yeah, 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 like, wow, narrow, 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 narrow. Oh, sorry, I might have taken that from the current, whatever. Anyway, so, and I'd been really into it, and then all of a sudden, one night, I had been watching a movie clip from Suspiria, where it's like, I don't even know what the fuck happens in that movie, but there just been, like, this ballet dancing scene where, like, I guess, like, an alternate version of this girl just gets, like, fucked up. Like, she gets fucking got in this movie. Because, like, there's, like, two versions of this girl, and they're both ballet dancing, but one's being, like, tortured by the other girl's, like, ballet dancing. It's really fucked up. Like, I can't even talk about it, because when I, like, watch the movie scene, I feel viscerally sick. Like, it made me throw up. But I remember thinking, like, I gotta, like, okay, not to sound like a sociopath, but there's this weird thing where, like, for whatever reason, like, it's not violence necessarily, but it's just like when really like scary things are happening like on screen or in films, there's this like sort of weird like perverse feeling you feel sometimes where it's like you want more like action to the point where you almost go like, whoa, And I try to be careful wording that because I don't want to sound like a fucking psychopath, but it's like it's just this strange, like, you can't look away, and you I don't know what it is. Like, there's some psychology to that, but the point is I was like hyper analyzing myself, and I was like, why am I so intrigued by like violent horror films and like like car crashes and stuff? And I had thought back to this sort of like time when I'd gone on a date, right? And this guy, like, me and him we don't have anything on anything anymore. So he's never going to watch this. Thank God. Hopefully. If you're watching this, well, I should apologize because I was kind of a dick to him on the date. But basically, me and this guy had gone out on a date. And I kind of went, like, out of the fact that I was super lonely. And I literally was like, this was at a point in my life where I was literally like transitioning to like getting my first apartment, and I had been like sleeping on someone's couch for like 3 fucking months at this point. So I was like more like 4, but I was like, dude, like, get me the fuck out of here. Like, I was going insane. So I met up with him, and I should have been more prepared because I'd felt bad. But we'd gone driving, and he was driving me in like this Audi and everything, and it was super cool, and I felt like rich and everything, and I was like, oh my god, I'm being driven around in an Audi, yes. And then I remember, like, we were playing Skrillex. We were playing Skrillex's new mixtape. I was, anyway, because he was like, oh, I just think music is, like, whatever. And then, what was I going to say? Oh, but then I remember being, like, so focused on the road and the speed, and I was like, what if we crash? What if we crash right now? I want to crash. Like, let's crash the car right now. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like, why do I want this car to crash so badly? And my mind was like, take over the wheel, steer it, crash. And I was just sitting there like, and I was like, y'all, I'm gonna be so honest. I have like probably 7 million different mental illnesses. I've had a lot of shit happen in my life. You know what we do? We drink, we smoke a little, we throw your hair up in a messy bun and handle it, okay? Like, we've all gone through shit, and I'm not saying like, oh, let's all just whatever, but you get to that point in your life where you're like, fuck it, whatever, like, Okay. So anyway, the date went horribly, but not because we crashed the car or anything, but basically just because I wasn't into it and he wasn't into it. And so, but I remember like thinking back to that night and just loving the visual rush of being in a fast moving vehicle. Like, I love cars so much. I was born and raised in California. That's my thing. So basically what that has to do with Death Drive, though, is I had kind of been listening to Charlie XCX's Crash, and I'd been watching the Cronenberg film, And I was just like, yes, like I wanted to make a song where like originally Death Drive was gonna be super darker. Like it was gonna be like the protagonist wants to fucking kill herself and she's gonna take that goddamn car and she's gonna crash and kill both of us now. But now it kind of transformed into more of a like this sort of like ballad of freedom. Like it's still a pop song, like it's still a very catchy pop song, but it's almost like, you know, the protagonist from Don't Wait Up Late, because this album has a protagonist, kind of harking back to the first Cheap Polaroid album. I liked that sort of trope. And, you know, she talks about like wanting, you know, she knows that she no longer needs a man in her life and she's okay being on her own. And she's like, what the fuck am I doing in this car with this man who I thought I'd never see again, who I hate, who I know is going to die soon, who, like, you know, I have no business being with. And, you know, I love the rush of being in love and I love the thrill and I love, you know, all these toxic, horrible things for me. But, you know, I'd rather be on my own. And yes, I want that visceral feeling of like despair and horror and violence, but I want freedom, you know? And so that's what Death Drive is really about is, you know, this longing freedom overtaking everything else, you know, your every other desire to be free and to just be by yourself. And I thought it was really beautiful. It samples two Venturing songs, a minute-long snippet that Jane posted on their story, that the fan community titled Down, and it just goes, in the morning when you're leaving when I'm leaving your room with a smile, and I dream of love, and I go down for love. That's not the melody at all. Well, no, it kind of was. Oh, leave me alone. Anyway, and then it samples Oakloo Chokinef. Okay, producers, anyone out there, you want to donate for a good cause and get something in return? Okay, Lou has Chokinef and ICT stems on her Bandcamp, €5, which is like $6 American bucks. And it goes to Palestine, a Palestinian relief fund. And I really love Chokinef, the song. And I still bought the stems. I didn't incorporate the actual stems into my song because I couldn't be bothered to like chop it up that much, so I just recreated the synths and stuff and the piano. But still, buy the stems. It goes to a good cause, and also because I just kind of like listening to it. I went to my wrong Bandcamp account, but that's okay. Life just hates me. And then I also sampled, who was it? Taylor Swift Style. I've always loved the chorus, and now I have a good reason to sample it because my good friends Lunar Data Garden, they sampled Style in one of their songs, Coming Now, which is one of my favorites ever. Like, you don't even know. Like, one day when they have like 7 million albums out or whatever, and it's like 2050. Who the hell is calling me? Hold on, y'all. Hello? 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 Hopefully that didn't cut off my mic. But anyway, but yeah, it samples Venturing and Oakloo and the Splice sample. I forget who the original producer is, and no, I think I said everything. Yeah, I said everything. Oh, and one last time, but it's just literally two samples that go, yeah, you know. And it's also ripping off Jane Remover. You gotta understand, I love Jane Remover. I love all their music. I go to the school of Jane Remover where Umru hands out the quizzes, and I go and I'm studying. Let me put on my glasses. And do I pass? I don't know. That's for the audiences to decide. That's behind the two songs, and the last love song is kind of, I kind of wanted to give a little teaser to my next era too in this video, because I know this is a long ass vlog, but the Last Love Song is kind of like a collection of like ballads and pop songs, really, where it's just like it doesn't really follow the film's actual narrative theme. Like there's no zombie apocalypse, but there's like like the making and dissolution and the trials and tribulations of like love. Because when I made my first album as Cheap Polaroid, I kind of, I had really liked the idea of like there's a world with no more love. And my next album I had made when I was 16, called Friday Night Destruction, that I had made when I had just broken up with one of my exes in high school. And this album's kind of dedicated to 16-year-old me who thought like a breakup was going to be the worst thing in the world, who couldn't handle it. It was like, God, I'm going to kill myself, and being so emo. But I really liked it because it brought out like a rock side of me, even if my sampling was shit. I was like, I love and cherish that part of myself because I have such a deep love for rock. Like, you gotta understand, one of the first ever albums I was listening to was like Slipknot, Five Finger Death Punch, like Metallica at the age of like 6. Like, dude. But yeah, no. So I'm kind of ready just to like, finally finalize the album and get it all over and done with. It's coming out March 13th. And maybe I might go on a mini tour for it, if I can do some impromptu shows around Chicago, maybe around the surrounding areas and stuff. But what I have in store for the next era is, if you're a fan of Kim Petras, like Aisha Erotica, like all those like really pop girls where it's like Frost Children, where it's like, oons oons and like glittery glamify, like, all I'm saying is my creative director Kenny, we love Kenny in this household, said they're going to dress me up like Jersey Shore and that I better start hitting the gym. And bitch, you either put on the wig or you put on the weight. So wait, sorry, you can't see my stomach, I'm fat as fuck. Okay, yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching my vlog, YouTube. Bye.